Under no circumstances should anyone be subjected to sexual assault or sexual harassment, regardless of race, age, or gender. With that being said, let's get back into it. So this is from the April 1995 issue of Vibe magazine. The article was written by Kevin Powell, and I am going to gloss over and summarize the parts that aren't really important, and I'm going to give direct quotes from Tupac. And the question was, what happened on the night of the alleged rape? So Tupac goes on to say that they had a show to do in New Jersey at Club 88, and that they were getting ready and everything, and Nigel was saying, why don't you give her a call? So they were all sitting around at the hotel drinking and, chilling or whatever, and Nigel's like, I called her. She called me, and she's on her way. Tupac states that I wasn't thinking about her no second time. We were watching TV when the phone rings, and she's downstairs. Nigel gave Man, my manager, some money to pay for the cab, and I was like, let that bitch pay for her own cab. So he states that she comes upstairs looking all nice, dressed all provocative, like she was ready for a prom date. Then he states, so we're all sitting there talking. She's making me uncomfortable because instead of sitting with Nigel and them, she's sitting on the arm of my chair. And Nigel and Trevor are looking at her like chicken, like she's like food. It's a real uncomfortable situation, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take her to the room and get a massage. I'm thinking about being with her that night at Nails. So we get to the room. I'm laying on my stomach. She's massaging my back. I turn around and she starts massaging my front. This lasted for about a half an hour. In between, we would stop and kiss each other. I'm thinking she's about to give me oral sex again. And this is the part where it gets sort of dicey. He goes on to say, but before she could do that, some people came in. He states that I froze up more than she froze up. If she would have said anything, I would have said, hold on, let me finish. But I can't say nothing because she's not saying nothing. How do I look saying, hold on? That would be like I'm making her my girl. So just to clarify that, he's alleging that when the other guys busted into the room, she didn't freeze up. She didn't, say anything like, what are they doing here? What's going on? Or anything. He said he was the one who froze up. And he said if she would have verbalized, I guess, any discomfort or disagreement with what was going on, she would have said something, and then he would have said something, not to her, because at first I thought, why would he tell her, hold on, let me finish? But he would have, told them, hold on, let me finish. But he said because she didn't say anything, not only did he not say anything, but he didn't want it to seem like, it was his girlfriend or anything. Because apparently in his mind, he implied by what he just said that he was under the impression that she was cool with it. Okay. So then he goes on to state, so they came in and started touching her. And he goes that they're going like, ooh, she's got a nice ass, etc. Then he states, Nigel isn't touching her, but I can hear his voice leading it, like, put her panties down, put her pantyhose down. I just got up and walked out of the room. Now let's clarify that, because that's going to be important later. So he's stating that Nigel isn't touching her, but Nigel is like the ringleader and directing everybody else. And to further clarify, in her interview, she states that Nigel and Haitian Jack are the same person. Okay, so Tupac states, after he walked out of the room, he went into the other suite. He claims that his manager, Man, told him that his publicist, Taliba, was there and had been there for a while and was waiting to speak to him and everything. So he says that he went and spoke with her, or him or her, I don't know. He went and spoke with his publicist, and then he laid down on the couch and went to sleep. So at this point, he's on the couch and he's not in any bedroom. So he says, when I woke up, Nigel was standing over me like, Pac, Pac, and all the lights was on in both rooms. The whole mood had changed. He says that he felt like he was drugged and he didn't know how much time had passed. He said, so when I woke up, it was like, you're going to the police, you're going to the police. Nigel walks out of the room, comes back with the girl. Her clothes is on, ain't nothing tore. She just upset, crying hysterically. Why you let them do this to me? She's not making sense. I came to see you. You let them do this to me. I'm like, I don't got time for this shit right here. You got to chill out with that shit. Stop yelling at me and looking at me all crazy. She said, this is not the last time you're going to hear from me. So then Tupac says that Nigel / Haitian Jack was telling him, don't worry about it. I'll handle it. She's just tripping. So Tupac says, so once Nigel told him that, he says he wasn't tripping about it no more. And he says, and this is a direct quote, I asked him what happened, and he was like, he said, I asked him what happened, and he was like, quote, too many niggas. So he said that everyone started going downstairs, but no one was coming back upstairs. He says, so I'm sitting upstairs smoking weed, like, where, the hell is everyone at? And then he got a call from Taliba, who was his publicist, from the lobby saying that the police were down there. So the Nigel part is important because in the recent interview that she gave, it was the part that she spoke about Nigel / Haitian Jack is completely different from what Tupac said. And also, if you watch the interviews about this whole thing, no one is disputing that something transpired up there that night. The dispute comes in who was actually involved. And Tupac has always maintained that definitely something happened, but he personally didn't have anything to do with it. And the fact that I guess the other people were not pursued, and that she made it seem like he is the one who did everything or was involved in it. And then right here, like I quoted earlier, he says that he could hear Nigel leading everything, like directing the other people, telling them to pull her underwear down and to take her pantyhose off and everything. And he said at that point that he left the room. Now, she also in her interview says that he left the room as well, but I also have her letter from 1995 that she wrote to Vibe, and she makes a different statement there as well, which we'll get into in another video. So moving on, the last question that the interviewer asked him in this article about this was, and that's what landed you in jail, but you're saying that you never did anything. And Pac's response was, never did nothing. Only thing I saw was all three of them in there, and that guy talking about how fat her behind was. I got up because they sounded sick. I don't know if she's with them or if she's mad at me for not protecting her. And this is the part that sort of got to me when he said this. He says, but I know I feel ashamed because I wanted to be accepted, and because I didn't want no harm done to me, I didn't say nothing. And that's very important, because he's stating that he felt ashamed that he didn't say anything at the time because he wanted to be accepted by these guys that he was around, and he didn't want to get in trouble, plain and simple. And then in an interview that I watched prior to making this video, he stated that if he could go back and, do anything different about that night, he would have kept his eyes open until she was out of the room or until she was gone, something to that effect. Don't quote me verbatim on that, but that's what he said. So that tells me also that even he was aware that definitely something happened in that room that night.